Hello everyone and welcome to Marquette Paleo Park. Here are just a few still images of what we've been creating in Jurassic World Evolution 3. I hope you really enjoy this speed build. We're going to get straight into it in just a little bit. And Jurassic World Evolution 3 is going to be on the channel for a bit. As far as I'm concerned, I really enjoy it and love this game. So let's get into the building. The first step of any park is to create the arrival area. And so we kind of just line this up and start getting some brick put in because we're using the Lincoln Park Zoo entrance as kind of a reference for this part. There we cut to where I'm starting to put the ceiling on, and I make some nice little just different planting areas on here, sort of concentric circles, though they're technically not concentric. We then line that up with some trim and get this really to work pretty well for us. We'll recolor that trim red and it will look really nice and give us that Midwest feel. We then do some planting with lots of elephant grass. This was me just really exploring with the planting. We're kind of generating some more plant palettes more consistently in the future, but right now we're just kind of playing around with what we've got, and these planters really work well. I really love the foliage in game. It looks beautiful, lots of different variations, but I'd always love to see more. You're going to see a little bit of the finished product in just a little bit, where we've actually gotten it all lined in. So yeah, there we go with a pretty full picture of what the foliage is going to look like. And we're going to start working on the logo, or more the script. I must admit that the building system for this game is a little bit clunkier than Planet Zoo's because you can't keep the scenery tab open while you're in advanced move, but we are going to create the Marquette Paleo Park set in the North Peninsula of Michigan. Really wanted some Midwest zoo, and I felt like that was probably going to make the most sense for just a more interesting place to put it, and I wanted to try the island generator. Unfortunately, it does not work with like the temperate or taiga map, but we deal with what we can. So we're going to get that Marquette Paleo Park sign in. Again, we're unfortunately having to line everything up by hand, which, it is what it is. We're going to scale this down and make it a nice, pretty color, but this is probably one of the things I probably wanted to show off because you do get to scale text, which I cannot wait for that to be in Planet Zoo 2, as Planet Zoo 2 was announced the week that I'm releasing this video. Very hyped for that. Also, we've got an update for Jurassic World Evolution 3 coming soon. This will come with some nice quality of life changes and the Kentrosaurus. Unfortunately, the Kentrosaurus does not really work into the plan of my zoo, so we'll definitely have to figure out another zoo after this one to kind of implement some of our more African dinosaurs, which we don't really have that many of, but I'm hoping we'll get some in the near future. But they're not included in this park. I had wanted to get a more realistic park plan. But yeah, we're creating this entrance area slightly based off of the Cincinnati Zoo, but basically make it industrial is the idea. And so this is something that you see a lot in more Midwestern zoos, is these kind of arched entrances. And I wanted to use some metal beams to do that instead of the more concrete pillars that you often get in those zoos. And so we kind of create it with these girder systems, and I end up really liking how we make it. And I hope you do as well. But yeah, we wanted to add this support, and then we're also going to have a gift shop that this connects to, which is based off the St. Louis Zoo. We'll get to that in a little bit, but as you can see, we're just kind of lining up these metal beams. It's pretty tedious work, but it is also pretty rewarding once it actually gets finished. So we're going to create a section, and then we'll be able to copy that section along. But some of those quality of life changes that are coming include being able to double click to edit a group, which is going to be amazing. Also fixing the LODs, which is basically the game will, when you zoom out, it decreases the texture quality. So they've made an option so that when you have higher performance, you can have higher LODs, which is great because that's kind of you don't want to be able to zoom out and then things disappear or get worse textures. So part of the arches, I wanted some bricks on the bottom to kind of tie into the left side of the entrance. The right side has bricks, but it's a different color. So this kind of just ties the two of them together. And we kind of get this, and we're going to basically just line this across, and we'll do that for the whole section. It's pretty easy, and here you're going to see me just kind of create this section. With the position snap, you can really make repeating things really quickly, which you're going to see me add all these beams basically that way. Quite nice. And we'll put some wire as well in just a little bit along there, which you'll get to see. Yeah, me placing this wire down for pretty much an arbor kind of look to it. And it's really nice, the lighting engine on this game, because it really gets us the beautiful lighting if you have plants going over the top of it. We don't have as many like vines as I'd like to. The ivy is nice, but it's not quite enough. But here we are going to put the ivy in. And don't worry, we will make sure it doesn't look as repeating textures as it does here. Adding plenty of ivy pieces to make that nice covering. And then we're going to make some fences so that you basically come through here to check in your tickets. We don't really have ticket booths or anything. I wasn't able to find any great pieces for that. There might be some stuff on the workshop, so we might improve it later. But that all will depend. And then I wanted to get some lights on here so that at night it really shines. Unfortunately, lights cannot be turned on at all times, or it would be really nice to be able to get that working. But we get these lights in here, and they'll look great during night, which you'll see during the end walkthrough of this build, because I did do quite a bit off camera. This was me learning decals exist in this game, and exploring the heck out of them. Lots and lots of decals, really able to make stuff look weathered. Not all of them are super useful in my opinion, but we do have a lot of them, which is great. This was just me finding different ways of implementing those, and it's really cool what you can do with these. The weathering in this game is awesome, but again, you can kind of go overboard with it. I have heard that these decals are amazing in that you don't have to have them exactly lined up and they'll basically bake onto the texture, unlike Planet Zoo where they're actually like a two-dimensional object. But now we're going to build the gift shop, and that's going to be something that we struggle a bit because we don't have great glass pieces. It actually took me watching Caesar Creates video to find out that we had the skylight pieces, which works really well for this. But we are creating this based off the St. Louis Zoo's north entrance, and we've got a gift shop tied in there because I felt like it would look really good there. We're going to have these big wide open windows. Again, you'll see more of that in the end shots, but we're making our progress through here, and it is a pretty cool build in my opinion. So we get this rotated that 45 degrees so we can get this nice cool angle that is really sort of emblematic of Midwest architecture. I don't live in the Midwest, but I do see a lot of people's zoos recreations of that, and that's kind of the inspiration for this. So we kind of create these two just different sections of this, and then we really are going to have some nice windows in the front here. It's definitely going to be nice shop windows that we're going to be able to put some decals on. Yeah, this was me realizing I need to create one section and then do it multiple times. And this is also me realizing I could have edited more of this out. But it is a pretty short video, so I hope you don't mind a little bit of non-edited goodness. But this is probably one of the episodes I did do most of a lot of editing on. But also, I do have a newborn now, so a lot of that editing was with a newborn crying, so I think I missed some stuff. But yeah, we kind of create this window frame with these concrete pillars here, and really like how it turned out. There we go. Now editing Greyhammer has successfully done their job, which is great. So yeah, we're going to use the skylight pieces like I was talking about, and you can see here we don't have the skylight pieces in yet. I tried to use the windows, but here we're going to create the roof. The entire roof, I definitely did most of it off camera because I get a roof, I keep saying that wrong, I get a roof put in here, and unfortunately it just didn't look good. because I was trying to go for a hexagonal shape and it just didn't work out. I end up using, and you can see that here, it looks crappy. But we're also working on a wall piece here that we can kind of use pretty much throughout this whole build. And I think it works pretty well. Our next building that we work on, we create a different wall set, and I really like that one as well. And here's going to be me showing you just how well you can do clutter in this game. Because we're going to add a ton of clutter. I guess I should say backstage clutter. Gift shop clutter sucks. I'm just going to say that now. We don't have any of the gift shop pieces that we had in Planet Zoo, which was really helpful in Planet Zoo for creating those gift shops. This game, you've got none of that. And it's really unfortunate, but it is what it is. But you are able to create these nice little backstage areas where we're going to create this thing to keep employees from falling off the edge if they have to do work on the roof. But we do get to make this look pretty nice, in my opinion. And I'm going to be basically using this as my look at the awesome things you can do in this game. So we put the ladder there. We're going to put a lot of backstage props up here. And it's pretty cool looking, in my opinion, at the end. And should be somewhat realistic. I'm not an architect. I'm not a designer for these. So I'm not an HVAC tech. I don't know how those work 100%, but I have a general idea. I do have an engineering background, so but even though it's more biology based than mechanical based. Here I added the ladder here. Eventually that ladder will get moved, so don't worry about that, because I didn't want the guests to be able to see too much of the backstage area. Just kind of Planet Zoo coming to haunt me, saying that guests should never see backstage areas. But in a sense, it's right. You want to be able to see the backstage areas that are actually interesting to the zoo, but rooftop units probably not as useful. So yeah, I use this kind of scaffold to put an air conditioner on because it feels like you would want that elevated. And then I start working on some ductwork. I don't know how realistic it is, and this back area you never see even when you're inside of the building. So it doesn't really matter too much how accurate it is. But again, here we are using that scaling tool really to our advantage to get this ductwork to a more believable size, in my opinion. The hotkeys are still a little tricky for me. The game hotkeys are not super intuitive if you're coming from Planet Zoo, but they become pretty intuitive after a little bit. But yeah, just kind of getting this air duct system put in, and not much beyond that you got to work on. It's pretty simple what you can do in this game, but pretty powerful as well. So I was just trying to figure out, well, what do I need here? And we just kind of put that and then put some vents on the side of it. Eventually at first I was going to put some supports in, but then I was like, it's on the floor, it doesn't really make sense to have the supports. But we do put some vents on so that it can, exhaust any warm air that it needs to. Here we are working on the gift shop interior, trying to stock the shelves, and this is kind of where I say gift shop props are in short supply. This was me just going through the props, just trying to figure out what kind of works. The buoy, not really. The fossil crates are just too big to go on shelves. And then we just I use like a keypad as like some dinosaur information thing. I really don't know what it would be, but it just kind of looks high tech and could be sold. I'm not exactly sure though. It's kind of fun, but I do get those sieves so you can hunt for dinosaurs in your backyard or whatever. Probably some Sandbox toys or whatever. Try to get some like posters, but I figured some commemorative cups and then those neon signs up there on the top. Here I am trying to create these skull replicas. I kind of like them. Um, if I can replace them with something that makes more sense, I most certainly will, because it just only partially works. It I have to rope these off, of course, because kids will, of course, get close to them. So we've got this kind of caution tape that you get from the Badlands set. It kind of works out pretty well. You only do get that from pre-ordering the game, so that is an unfortunate bit, but I do use it pretty well. Sorry about that pause. I think this was one of the streams I was doing where the baby was really misbehaving. But here we go. I say misbehaving, it was being a regular baby. So we really get that ironed out there. And yeah, we have a pretty nice gift shop. Here I am kind of creating a counter for the gift shop. The only computer like thing that they have is this from the original movie, from the Badlands set. And I kind of just cover all the parts of it that we don't need. Kind of create a nice little counter. Weird camera angle, but you know. The camera is something I still am struggling with in this game. Mainly because the cameras. So there's a camera that is more like Planet Zoo and a camera that is its own thing. The problem is that sometimes it just randomly decides to go with one camera versus the other. And I much prefer the Planet Zoo one. But here we are kind of creating this counter. We had to figure out a way to make it look like we've got a nice counter. So really going for that marble counter look, and then put some wood here to really try and sell the gift shop counter. We're nearing the end of the video, so I really hope you've enjoyed it so far. We don't have much left to this video, as you can probably tell from the timestamps. So I just want to leave y'all by saying, if you enjoy this content and want to see more Jurassic World Evolution 3 content, and see my editing get better, because this video is, while editing has been better on this, could still use a lot of work. But I do need to get this out by Sunday, so this is my best chance for a voiceover. And but if you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, and I'll see you in a little bit for just the in-game walk around. Bye now. Hello everyone, and as the sign says, welcome to Marquette Paleo Park. Yeah, I added that sign on the floor, went a little crazy on the decals, but really like it. So, this is the entrance to Marquette Paleo Park, based off the Lincoln Park Zoo, a little bit of the Cincinnati Zoo, and a lot of the St. Louis Zoo. We've got here our beautiful gift shop. We'll take a closer look in another camera view because it just refuses to in this angle. We're going to try and not look to the front, because that will be for next episode where we actually put dinosaurs in. Go ahead and put your guess as to what the first dinosaur is. We've got our restroom over here and blocked this off a little bit. We might actually add a bridge over the water towards our Western Wonders event. Again, trying to avoid that, but we've got a nice backstage area up there. This will probably get turned into a little bit more backstage area. There's really not much to this, to be fair. We've got pretty much all of this has been covered in the video, and I mean, it is just an entrance building, but let's try and get, without giving too much away. You can't hide GUI in these cameras, which is unfortunate, but this is the interior of the gift shop. Again, not a lot of gift shop props. I'm also just noticing that we've got some stuff sticking out there, but I can't edit it really quickly. So that is coming in a future update. So we need more gift shop stuff to add on to counters and stuff, but it is what it is. This is the gift shop as it currently stands. Hopefully we'll get more props in the future. There's really not much I can talk about this building. I really love the lighting, and I think it works best at night, which is why we are in night. So, if you did enjoy this speed build, go ahead and please leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more Jurassic World Evolution 3 content. We try and split it every other week with Planet Zoo, and that will be kind of how we do this. So yeah, go ahead, subscribe, comment down below what species you think is the entrance animal, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.